What is going on, guys? This is Talking Sports and Landon. Today I am back for a brand new video for you guys today. Today, guys, we're going to be going over the Giants' official 2023 53-man roster. So let's get right into it. So the first side of the ball we're going to be covering here, we're going to be doing the offense first. So I'm going to zoom in here for the offense. So, I mean, really, a lot of the players we expected, some players maybe that we didn't expect. To be honestly, personally, I thought Cole Beasley or Jamison Crowder would have made the team at wide receiver. None of them did, but I'm not surprised that they didn't. I thought Cole Beasley definitely would, but I wasn't exactly sure about Jamison Crowder. But first, let's get right into the quarterbacks. So Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor were the two quarterbacks last year. No surprise there. I mean, I was kind of hoping for Tommy DeVito to maybe make the roster, but I mean, honestly, we don't really need DeVito. Maybe he could be a practice squad player, but I think two quarterbacks for now for the 53 is good. I think two quarterbacks now, like Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor. I mean, those are good two quarterbacks to have. Daniel Jones obviously is the starter, and then Tyrod Taylor is obviously second string. Not really much at the quarterback position, but it's basically what we had last year in the quarterback room. At the running back room, we have Saquon Barkley, Matt Breida, Gary Brightwell, and Eric Gray. Now, this was basically our running back room last year, except for Eric Gray. Saquon obviously going to be starting. Matt Breida is a pretty solid backup running back. Gary Brightwell he's pretty good. He's okay. I would say he's decent. I'd say he's decent. Eric Gray, obviously the rookie that I'm really excited about. I'm honestly really excited for Eric Gray this season. I think he's a really good running back, and we got him in the fifth, sixth round in this year's draft. I think we got him in the fifth round. I think he's a very explosive runner. I think he can, he has the ability to, really break a lot of tackles, and I think he has the ability to really, be a really good running back in this, on this team and on this league. And honestly, I could see after this season, Matt Breida leaving, Gary Brightwell leaving, I could see it being Saquon and Eric Gray taking the 1 and 2 spots. I could see Gray being the number 2 running back, or if Saquon leaves next season, which honestly I would not be too surprised if he did. Then maybe Eric Gray would maybe take the number 1 position, but I feel like if Saquon were to leave, they would bring in like a veteran, or they would draft a running back, and with obviously one of their picks, they would obviously draft one. So wide receivers are very much different than last year. Like there are a lot of different receivers in this wide receiver class. This wide receiver room. So this year's is Paris Campbell, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard, and Darius Slayton. Last season, it was Richie James was on there, David Sills was on there, and I forget the other. I feel like there was one other receiver, but I can't remember who it was. Marcus Johnson. No, Marcus Johnson did not make the 3-man roster. Marcus Johnson actually came to the Giants after the season began. He came to the Giants. Yeah, we have a lot of new players on this. We have 2 new players on the wide receiver in the wide receiver room. Paris Campbell, the free agent wide receiver we signed back in free agency, the really explosive receiver, the speedy receiver from the Colts. I think he's a very underrated receiver in this league. I think he's one of the most underrated, honestly. I think he's a very good receiver. I think he'd be a really good receiver for the Giants in this offense. Jalen Hyatt. I loved him coming into this draft. I really wanted us to take him at somewhat in this draft. I thought he was a really good receiver. I think in one of the mocks I did, I think I had him as like the first pick that the Giants selected. I'm hoping that he gets a lot of playing time, which I think he will. I think he will get a lot of playing time. I really do think that Jalen Hyatt will really do well in this offense this season. I'm really, 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 really excited to see Jalen Hyatt and Paris Campbell in this receiving core, because last year we didn't have these names receivers. We didn't have a Paris Campbell or a Jalen Hyatt last season. We had David Sills and Richie James, who honestly, David Sills and Richie James, they were pretty good last year, but they weren't anything like Paris Campbell or like a Jalen Hyatt. We also have names like Isaiah Hodgins, who joined the Giants in the middle of the season last season. We also got guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, who rookied last year, tore his ACL week 11 against the Lions, missed the rest of the season. And then we got Sterling Shepard, too, who tore his ACL in week 3 during the season against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football last year. And then we got Darius Slayton, who's been on the Giants since 2019. And he's one of the most longer tenured Giants, like the most longest tenured Giants, from like in terms of like how many years players have been on the roster. I would say Darius Slayton would probably be up there. I know Sterling Shepard is the most tenured Giant. on our roster right now because he's been on the roster since 2016. There is no player on our team that has been on the roster. There is no player from like 2015 or beyond or past that are on the roster right now. So, I mean, I really do think that Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt, Wandale, and Shepard, I really do think that is a really good receiver group, though I did think that we would keep one of the other not tight ends, one of the other wide receivers in Campbell or Beasley, but I could see Beasley coming back on the practice squad. I think that's what I saw Jordan Renan say in his tweet today. I think he said they were releasing Cole Beasley and that he said, but they were probably going to bring him back to the practice squad or maybe back to even to the roster. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this wide receiver group. I'm excited, but not as much as I'm excited with this tight end position. This tight end room is going to be awesome. Tight end room is Daniel Bellinger, Darren Waller, and Lawrence Cager. So much different than last year. Daniel Bellinger and Lawrence Cager were there, but Lawrence Cager were there, and Nick Vannett. But now we have Darren Waller. Darren Waller, I think, is going to be the best offensive player this year for the Giants, if not one of the best. I think Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley and Darren Waller, if we're gonna have three best offensive players this season, it's gonna be Jones, Barkley, and Waller. I think Waller's gonna go nuts this season. I think he's gonna go insane this season. I think he's gonna be really good. I can see him going for over 1,000 yards. If Waller can stay healthy, it's no stopping him. Because we saw in the second preseason game against the Panthers, first play from scrimmage, Jones throws it straight to Waller. Second play, I think it was thrown to Waller. Waller had 3 catches on that first drive in that preseason game alone. And I think he had like 30-some yards. He had 4 receptions, but Jeremy Chin just like absolutely destroyed him on a hit. That's why he didn't catch his 4th pass. But he would have caught every single pass that Jones threw to him on that drive if Jeremy Chin would not have hit him that hard, like on that throw. I think Darren Waller's going to be great. I'm also really excited to see second-year tight end Daniel Bellinger this season. I think Bellinger was a very good rookie last season. I mean, honestly, I think Daniel Bellinger and Darren Waller can honestly, it's going to sound crazy, but I think they could be one of the best duos in tight end in the NFL. I'm serious. I really do. I do think Darren Waller and Daniel Bellinger could really be that kind of duo in the NFL. I really, really do. I was really excited whenever we got Waller because Jones finally has that number 1 weapon. And also, you could also consider that Paris Campbell and Jalen Hyatt are now his number 1 and number 2 receivers. It looks like from here on the depth chart, if they're putting in order, well, I see the tight ends aren't in order. Obviously, Darren Waller's number 1 tight end. Daniel Bellinger's 2, and Lawrence Cager's 3. But they have Waller at 3rd, Cager at 2nd, and Bellinger at 1. But I would, honestly, I know, we all know Waller's going to be number 1. We know Bellinger's going to be 2. We know Cager's going to be 3. And the same for the receivers. I think Paris Campbell, Hodgins, and Hyatt will be the 1, 2, and 3. But I'm really excited to see these new receivers that we got, like Campbell, Hyatt, Waller. I'm just really, really excited to see Daniel Jones' new weapons. And the Eric Gray too is one of the new backup running backs. It's gonna be a really good passing and running year for the Giants. All right, so O-line, we have Ben Bredeson, Joshua Ezeudu, Mark Lewinsky, Shane Lemieux, Marcus McKenniff, and Evan Neal, Matt Parrott, John Michael Schmitz, and Andrew Thomas. So Andrew Thomas is left tackle, Evan Neal is right tackle, Schmitz is going to be playing center. I think Lewinsky was, I can't remember if he was left or right guard. I couldn't remember. Bredeson's left guard, I'm pretty sure. And Mark Lewinsky's right guard. So that's the O-line. That's the starting O-line. That would be my guess, the starting O-line. Maybe Bredeson doesn't start. Maybe Ezeudu starts, and maybe Lemieux starts. Marcus McKenniff, I don't think would start. He's coming off of a torn ACL from FanFest last year. He didn't even get to play in his rookie season because he tore his ACL during FanFest. I think the players that I said were probably going to be the starting O-line: Thomas, Schmitz Jr., Evan Neal, Bredeson, and Glowinski. I think that's the 5 offensive linemen that are going to be starting on the line. I think Matt Parrott. I'm honestly kind of surprised they actually kept him. I'm probably just for depth, but I'm honestly kind of surprised they kept him. He's not been that good in the preseason, or really hasn't been good in a while. I mean, I don't think he was really that good last year either. So I was kind of surprised that they kept him. Shane Lemieux, he's going to be a backup. Same with Parrott. I mean, Ezeudu might be playing. I mean, well, I feel like Ezeudu or Lemieux will probably be, if Bredeson, or I forget what position Ezeudu plays. It might be left guard he plays. I'm not entirely sure. I forget what he plays. I think it's left guard he plays. But I think he's probably one of the premier backups on this line. It's about the same line from last year, except John Michael Schmitz and Marcus McKenniff are on the team this year. Well, Marcus McKenniff was on the team last year, but of course he tore his ACL before the season even started last year. But, just the same offensive line last year, really, except for John Michael Schmitz. I'm really excited about that draft pick. I think we're going to have a really good offensive line this season. We got an upgrade at center at Schmitz, so I'm really looking forward to this offense. So that was the offense. Now let's turn it over to the defense. So the defense, as we all expected probably, linebackers, Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin, Micah McFadden, Azeez Ojulari, Bobby Okereke, Isaiah Simmons, I'll get into talking to him about it in 1 second, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Jihad Ward. Okay, so this linebacker core. I really like this linebacker core for a couple reasons. Four players actually really stick out here. Ojulari, Okereke, Simmons, and Thibodeau. All four of them are our linebackers. That is amazing to say. Ojulari, Bobby Okereke, Isaiah Simmons, Kayvon Thibodeau. The fact that we got Isaiah Simmons for a 7th-round pick just tells you how much the Cardinals are actually tanking. There is no way if that was not the Cardinals, I guarantee you they would not have given up Simmons for a 7th-round pick. This is what I'm thinking. I think the Cardinals are, in the point where it's like where they're rebuilding. Obviously they are rebuilding, but they're loading up for draft picks. They're loading up for their draft capital, and I feel like they're trading anybody that they can to get draft picks for the next upcoming drafts. Yeah, I still can't believe we got Isaiah Simmons. That was such a good trade too. Whenever we got Isaiah Simmons, I still can't believe it honestly that we got him, and I don't see Carlos Basham, the edge from the Bills that we just traded for today. Actually, we just traded for him, Carlos Boogie Basham. We just traded for today. I think he's a very underrated edge. He really didn't get that much playing time in Buffalo. I mean, he was behind Von Miller and I think Gregory Rousseau and AJ Epinesa, I'm pretty sure, or maybe Epinesa was behind him. But he really didn't get much playing time because he was behind both of them. But whenever he did, I watched some of his highlights. He was really, really good. Really, really good. So yeah, linebackers, I think that's one of our strongest core. I think also receiver here on the offense. I think wide receiver is also a very strong core, a lot stronger than last season. But I do think on the defensive side, I do think it is the line. I think the linebacking room is one of the most strongest room in this team. All right, so at defensive back, we got Deonte Banks, Dane Belton, Cordell Flott, Trey Hawkins III, Darnay Holmes, Adoree Jackson, Bobby McCain, Nick McLeod, Xavier McKinney, Javarius Owens, and Jason Pinnock. A lot of new faces on this defensive. A lot of faces for the new safeties, or for the defensive back / corners. A lot of new faces. Deonte Banks, Trey Hawkins, Bobby McCain, and Javarius Owens. Four defensive backs that three of them we drafted and one of them we signed. I'm starting to love Deonte Banks. Deonte Banks is starting to really. His preseason was so good. He was so good in preseason. Then Trey Hawkins, what a steal he was. Trey Hawkins out of Old Dominion, he was such a good pick from the 6th round. I can't believe he fell all the way to the 6th round. Honestly, I could see our cornerbacks after this season. Now this season it will probably be the number 1 and number 2 corners will be Adoree Jackson and Deonte Banks. But after next season, I really could see Adoree Jackson leaving, and I could really could see Deonte Banks and Trey Hawkins taking over the 1 and 2 position. I really could. I think Trey Hawkins is going to be that good. I really do think he's going to be really good, and I think Deonte Banks is going to be even better. Honestly, I wasn't really a huge fan of Banks coming into this draft. Watched his highlights. Honestly, whenever the night we drafted him, I really wanted Joey Porter. Whenever he fell to us, I was like, man, I really wanted Porter, but I mean, Banks was okay. But I watched, I saw what he did in preseason, saw what he did in training camp. I was like, yeah, that was the right pick. He was really, really good. I remember he got off to a little bit of a slow start in training camp, but he's a rookie, so it takes some time to adjust. But I'm really, really excited for Deonte Banks and Trey Hawkins. Bobby McCain was a commander, I think, in 2021. I remember in the Week 18 game, Joe Judge's final game as the Giants head coach. Jake Fromm threw a pick 6 to Bobby McCain, or something. I think Jake Fromm threw a pick 6 to him, or I remember correctly, and that really ended the Joe Judge era. That was also the same game as the 3rd down quarterback sneaks, though. But yeah, Javarius Owens too. I forgot about him. Javarius Owens. He was, I think he was our 7th round pick. I think he was I think he was either our last pick or our second to last pick. Haven't really honestly watched many highlights of him. I honestly gotta watch more. I never even heard of him. I mean, honestly, I never even heard of Hawkins or Owens before we even drafted him. But honestly, I haven't really seen much. The training camp videos that I have seen, I haven't really seen many of Javarius Owens. Like, I've seen a lot of reports about him, but I haven't seen many videos. I think I've seen a couple. I've seen a couple of clips of Javarius Owens. What I've liked. I think he'll be pretty good safety, a pretty good backup for now. I mean, I don't think he'll start. I mean, unless of one of our starters like in McKinney or Banks goes down, or Belton or Flott, or if one of them go down, I mean, honestly, I feel like he would probably maybe get a spot, maybe. But I mean, go looking at this list, Nick McLeod was also on the roster too last year. I think he was pretty underrated last year for the Giants. I think Darnay Holmes, honestly, I don't really care for Darnay Holmes all that much. I mean, I'm glad he took a pay cut, because I mean, we could use the depth. We could use the depth on our defense, but it's just on our secondary. But honestly, I would have been fine if we let him go. I don't think it's really much of a loss if he doesn't go. But honestly, I think this will probably be his last season as a Giant. So yeah, that's the cornerbacks. So here is the defensive line. So the defensive line is DJ Davidson, Dexter Lawrence, Rakeem Nunez-Roches, Jordan Riley, Ashawn Robinson, and Leonard Williams. So we have a lot of new players actually on here. DJ Davidson, Dexter Lawrence, and Leonard Williams are the three that were on the roster last year. Rakeem Nunez-Roches, Jordan Riley, and Ashawn Robinson are all free agency signings. I really like the Robinson signing. I think he's really good. I also really like Rakeem Nunez-Roches. He seems like a really, really good player. I honestly, whenever we signed Roches, I never really heard much about him. I actually did not know who he was, and then I looked him up. I saw some plays. I was like, man, I actually like this. I think he's actually pretty good. If I remember correctly, I think we signed him to like a 3-year deal or something. It was like a pretty big contract. I think it was like for like 12 years or something. But yeah, yeah, so Nunez-Roches, Nacho's his nickname. Jordan Riley too is also here too. Jordan Riley, I think he was our last pick in this year's draft. The defense tackle out of Oregon. I don't think I've never heard really much about him, honestly, during training camp. Watching the preseason, I really didn't hear his name all that well. I really didn't hear his name a lot, but I saw a couple plays. I'm in the preseason that actually I thought was pretty impressive. I know I think it was against the Panthers. He got maybe a 3-yard tackle loss or something on one of the running backs. I think it was maybe the Panthers game. I think maybe it was the Jets game. I forget. But I remember in the Panthers game he made a couple big plays. I mean, yeah, I'm excited, especially for this rookie draft class on this 53-man roster. I'm excited to see, also all the new players on the Giants this year. I'm excited to see Waller, Hyatt, Campbell, Banks on defense. I'm excited to see Rakeem Nunez-Roches. I'm honestly excited to see Dexter Lawrence, who's not new. I'm excited to see Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. I mean, everybody, basically. I mean, I'm excited to see everybody on this roster, because I do expect us to have a really good year this season. And we also forgot about the special teams, too. So, special teams, it's just the same. Graham Gano, Jamie Gillen, and Tracy Kreider. I hope Jamie Gillen can get a little bit better with his punts. I wasn't really that impressed with him last year. I thought he was okay, but I kind of wish we would have gotten another punter. But Graham Gano is automatic. This past game against the Jets, he hit a 59, 57, and a 40-yard field goal. He's automatic. Tracy Kreider's a really good long snapper. But, I mean, I don't really have much to talk about the special teams, but other than how great Graham Gano is. But, yeah. So that is the 53-man roster, the official 53-man roster of the New York Giants in the 2024 NFL season. So if you guys liked the video, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and comment down below. Peace.